It says we are live. And so instead of this long silence, I'm going to ask all you teachers' pets in the classroom to start sharing and spreading the good news that we have a wonderful conversation, a wonderful teacher in the classroom today to educate us, our heart, to educate our heart. And there's so many things that we're going to learn together today. So make sure you share, you like, you tag. And if you have any questions for Michele or anything in the classroom today, whether you're listening on Facebook or YouTube, there you go. Did you share too?
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Just make sure you type in a Q and you write your question. A lot of people make comments, but we just want to make sure that we have your questions answered today. So I am going to, before I hit or say any more, I am going to go ahead and hit the record button for the podcast because I gotten in trouble several times because I have forgotten to hit the record button. So I'm going to do that right now so that we can get started. Here we go. Okay, guys, so that you know, we are going to talk about our vulnerabilities and how they are our strengths. And so with that in mind, we're going to fasten our seatbelts because we're going to learn and grow together with Michele L. Sullivan. So there we go. It's time to dance. I hope.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal. And it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, today, we have a very interesting conversation with an interesting, larger-than-life human being. Her name is Michele L. Sullivan, and she has been, in her 30 years with Caterpillar, she was the president of the Caterpillar Foundation, as well as overcoming many obstacles. And so she's written a book. And Vanna, I need for you to hold up your book in a little bit. Here we go. There we go. There she is. The book is called Looking Up. And looking up allows us to focus on our adversities as, as something new opportunities for our life. And so today we're going to be talking about how to overcome. There's a lot of people right now that are overcoming, that are feeling that, and me included, that our rights have been taken away, that there's a lot of things that if we don't stand for what we believe and educate ourselves in the process and continue to grow spirit, mind, and body, we're going to get lost in the shuffle. And so today, who better than Michele, because she's going to share how we can focus on our strengths instead of our weaknesses and discover the power in vulnerability. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Michele is here to do just that. Welcome, Michele, to the classroom.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I love your passion and your mission. And, there's a lot to talk about today.
There is a lot to talk about, but first, because this is the first time, like I stumbled upon you, literally, I stumbled upon you. And I'm sure you have a lot of people say that to you. But I did. I stumbled upon you and you mesmerized me. So because I have gotten to see a little bit about you and I've fallen in love with you, I just thought, why don't you share about yourself? Start from the beginning of your how you are an expert in overcoming hurdles.
Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be here with you and everyone. So, about 5 decades ago, I was born, and my the doctor that delivered me told my parents on the day I was born that I was a little person. I had a form of dwarfism.
Mhm.
And back then you didn't really see anybody, little people or any handicapped people or anything like that out in public. And he said, you go home and you treat her like everybody else. And I think my parents would have done that anyway, but anytime you have a doctor, give you that affirmation, it always helps. And so I didn't know I was different until I went to kindergarten.
Mhm.
And I was so excited. My big brother went to school and now it was my turn. And I walked down the hallway with my mom like I owned the place at 5 years old. And I walked up and met the teacher and she told me to go in and play. And so I plopped myself down, like I said, so excited and thought I owned the place. And it wasn't very long into the playing time that the boy next to me said, "Why do you look so different? Why are you so small?" And I didn't think he was talking about me. I'm looking around going, "Who are you talking to?" And so I just kept playing. And then the person on the other side, a little girl, said, "Yeah, why are you so different?" And I could feel the confidence just go away. My shoulders went down. And we've all had those moments, right, in life where you're on the outside of the circle. And I was on the outside of the circle the whole rest of the day, not understanding what just happened. So when I got in the car and my mom said, "Oh, how'd it go?" I looked at her and I said, "Is there something wrong with me?" And my mom hesitated for the first time ever. And I'm sure she waited 5 years for that question.
Mhm.
And she said, "Michele, you are going to be smaller than most people, but I want you to know that God makes us all different in different ways and that you're still going to be able to do whatever you want, maybe in a little different manner, but you're going to be able to do whatever you want. And remember that." Of course, at 5 years old, that did not help me at all.
No.
And, I really got timid and I hated to go out in public because, people stared and I'd hide behind my parents' legs. But then in second grade, something happened. We started playing the game Around the World where it was flashcards and you stood next to somebody's desk and whoever gave the answer first got to move on. Well, guess what? I was great at math and I won all the time.
Mhm.
And I became known as the smart girl, not the small girl, but the smart girl. And I started to notice what my parents were talking about.
Mhm.
And then I learned how to play chess one day when it was raining outside, and the teacher taught us chess. And guess what? I became a chess champion. And it really started to click with me that, even though I'm not growing necessarily on the outside at the same pace as everyone, I'm growing on the inside. And that's a chapter in my book is there's 2 types of growth. And what are you focused on?
That's
And
right.
so as I, started to grow and, it's hard in the teenage years and all that. And, I know how lucky I am to be born in the country I was born into, the United States, born into the family I was born into that gave me everything I needed, education, healthcare, support, love. And I ended up getting a master's degree at Bradley University.
Mhm.
And I co-opted IBM. But I wanted to work at Caterpillar, being from Peoria, Illinois, where the headquarters for Caterpillar is located. And my dad worked at Caterpillar. My sister still works at Caterpillar. I retired last year. I knew I wanted to work at Caterpillar because I could have a global career in many different ways.
Mhm.
And it was interesting. I was the smallest employee in Big Yellow. And yet, 23 years in, my dream job came open, the Caterpillar Foundation. It's a very influential foundation. It was started in 1952. It rarely came open, the presidency, and they never had a woman before. So 23 years into my career, it came open, and I applied, and the CEO picks the president, and I got chosen, and it changed my life. It really did. Not-for-profit's always been a passion of mine. Caterpillar's a passion of mine, and it brought the two together. And I had a wonderful 7.5 years of working with those in extreme poverty. And a lot of in the book is about people who I met. It's not just my stories.
Yeah.
It's the people who have looked up to me and who I look up to. And it's about perspective, Lillian, and how everything is about how you look at things, the perspective. We all have value, but you have to be open to see everyone's value. And a lot of people don't do that. And when you look at a situation like the pandemic we're in, it is a challenge. There's no question in many ways, everything you said, emotionally, physically, financially, for sure, and mentally. But there's also some good coming out of it. How often have we all been made to stop?
Oh, yeah.
Stop and enjoy the roses, right? Spend time with the family. We're not all rushing around, just passing through life. And that's your perspective. And that's, my life in a nutshell. And then I retired and I finished the book, and I'm working on some global impact challenges with some companies and people. And also, of course, I do some speaking also. So it's really been a great ride. I'm one of the luckiest people you know.
And I agree with you 100%. And I want you to show the book again. The book is called Looking Up, and Looking Up is all about perspective. It is about, there we go. It is Michele. Michele has poured herself into this, and she's giving away 5 books. So this is what you need to do. As you know, you need to declare it. Do you want, is this what you want? Because a lot of people want to be free from their obstacles, but those obstacles become who they are. They become an excuse of why we did not succeed. And, having Michele here and say, hey, listen, if you think you got problems, let's look at let's look at our blessings instead. Right. Because what we focus on is what expands. And so if she is giving away 5 of these books, one of them's going to come to me. So I don't know if I get an extra book, but so,
and I'll
okay, awesome.
Everything.
She's giving 5 books and 1 for me. And so basically this is what you need to do. Declare that you want to overcome your obstacles right now. Declare it in your comment section. So if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook at Lillian's radio show, or if later on, if you're listening on podcast, this is what I want you to do. Declare it. Send it to me on a comment section, whether you email it to me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com, or you comment in where you're watching live, or later on you send me a text at 407-373-5959. And Robert, if you can write that number. So this is what you do. You declare it, and then you text me your name, and you let me know that you want this book. You got to work for it, because that's the thing. People want things to be really easy. And so we're making it so that you start the habit of doing things for what you want, as opposed to expecting for them to come. Right. So declare it. That's right. Declare it, and then text me at 407-373-5959. If you're out of the country and I don't know, you're not, this is just for the United States, right, Michele?
Oh, I'll mail it wherever.
Okay, because it's expensive.
Yep,
Okay. Yep. So, okay. Maybe you can send for someone out of the country, you can send them a PDF, because it's expensive, but to send out. But anyway, you heard it. You can email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com, or IM me on Facebook. Okay. So with that in mind, just know we're giving away 5. And I am excited to see your text coming in, because I know you're going to love this book. So Looking Up is about this, an attitude. Max Planck which I actually heard it from Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. But Max Planck was the one who said that for the first time. That changed my life, that perspective. So have you found that this is something that you've grown to perfect? This is something that you have skills that you say, okay, let me stop. Like you said, stop. And now let's look at the other side. What's the beauty of it? Do you do it quickly? How do you do that?
For me, because you can see one of my differences, obviously. And so it's always there in front of me because people point it out to me, whether they look at me, take pictures, or talk to me or whatever. It's always there. So for me as a child, you know, my parents said I came out with the gift of gab. And I don't know if that's true or if I developed it because I used that to make people comfortable around me. And while I look up to everybody literally, it taught me to look up to everybody figuratively. And so when I start the discussion first, and one of the chapters in the book is make the first move. You can't wait all the time for people to come to you or give you an opportunity or try to, you know, make you feel better about yourself. It all starts within.
Correct.
And so for me, I believe that I developed, I'm sure part of it was nature and part of it's nurture, right? And I think the combination for me worked because I do approach people. I do look at the positive side most of the time. You know, if you do Strength Finders 34, which is 34 attributes of a person's being, my number one attribute is positivity when I did the test. And so I'm not saying I never get down because that's just not true.
Correct.
But, you know, you always give yourself some time and then you do start to refocus on the things that you can control. And, you know, sometimes in life, things don't work out the way you want. But then later you figure out, you know what, that was a blessing that didn't work out because look at what happened in the meantime. And, you know, when we give the children a trophy just for participating, I do think that we're doing a disadvantage because there are times in life when you don't always win or you don't get the job or you don't get the gal or the guy.
Yeah.
And you have to take a deep breath and you deal with that. And that's part of life as well. Just like in the pandemic that we're in now, I don't know many people who like it, but there's a lot of good things happening because of it. Look at all the good deeds. And, you know, I believe that we are here to serve each other as well. It's not enough that everybody comes and helps me or serves me or whatever. We absolutely need to serve each other. And what I mean by that is, you know, check in with people. Are they okay? Listen to them. And when you look at people figuratively and see them that they have value, it opens you up to so much more. Let those assumptions go to the wayside. You learn more, you experience more, you love more. You have an all-around presence about you when you look at people for who they are, not what you see. And you also need to start and ask for help because it's a strength, not a weakness. And my TED Talk was about that very subject is we all need help once in a while. And it's okay to ask for help. It's a strength that you recognize that you can't go at something alone. And rarely in life do you do something all by yourself. Think about all of your accomplishments. Name one that you did all by yourself. You can't think of one usually.
That's
so
right.
We are surrounded by value and by spirits that we love. And when we collaborate together, you just get better solutions, better friendships, better relationships. And I think that's a positive.
Very good. So you had said earlier, and by the way, I'm make sure you not only when you declare it, make sure you text me at 407-373-5959. I want you guys to really want this book because what I'm going to do is whoever texts it, I'm going to put you in the winner's basket and we'll select 5 people to win the book. I'm just really thrilled about this one because it is about perspective. So I wanted to ask you, what was the moment for you? Because, you know, you're thinking, her name is, this little young lady named Chloe. She started a movement called Stand Beautiful. She had issues with her foot, where she was born with a club foot, and she had like so many surgeries before she even could remember. And so she was told by her parents that that was a superpower, that her feet were, she was like invincible because of it. Right. So when she went to school, she thought she was invincible until somebody exposed her. They grabbed her, they took off her shoe because they were exposing it as an ugly thing. And here she was thinking it was beautiful. So it was the opposite, where this happened to her in her freshman year.
Right.
With you were in kindergarten, and that created a pattern. I know there's a lot of people in this world that are very shy. They want to blend into the surrounding.
Right.
And I was like that too. A lot of people don't know I'm a very shy person. And so what was the moment for you that you already told us when you became aware that you were different. What was the moment that you said, you know what, I'm going to use this to my advantage? And I know you were in second grade,
right,
or in answering, you were great at math, but what was that moment for you in your mind? How did you get out of it step by step?
Right. So I can't remember the exact grade. It was fifth, sixth, or seventh, somewhere around there. I was in a big chess tournament. And when you go into a chess tournament, it's a big hall with just hundreds of tables that you just find out where you play, and you play all day long. And according to your record, you keep playing somebody that has at least as tough a record as you do. And when I hated walking into those rooms, I just hated it because everybody looked at me, and I'd go find out my table, and then I'd have to climb up onto the chair, and I had to sit on my knees the whole time, the whole day, because I had to see the chessboard. And, the first few people, and most of them were boys, by the way, there weren't many girl chess players. And a couple of the games I could tell I won because they were busy gawking at me. They weren't even paying attention to the game.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I'm here to win. So I mean,
it's a win.
one kid I beat in 2 moves, which means that the other player had to do something for me to do that.
That's
and
right.
As the day went on, I kept winning, and it kept getting harder. And I ended up winning my age division that day, and it was a citywide tournament. And so the flip side, though, is I knew to go get the trophy, I had to walk in front of everybody and go up to the stage. But I wanted that trophy, and it was the first trophy I ever won for something. So I did it. I went up there and got it. And of course, everybody's, clapping and looking, and I was so excited. And then afterwards, this boy came up, and he brought his parents up to me. And, I put my guard up because people always tease me or said something. So at the beginning, when I was young, my guard was always up. And so I just paused, and he looked at his mom and dad, and he said, "This is the girl that won the championship." It wasn't about my size. And they were so excited for me as well. And then I remember that feeling like it was yesterday. I knew then that I could do anything. And you have to take the bad with the good. Even though everybody stared at me walking in, they stared at me for a different reason when I walked out.
That's right.
And then I knew that I'm okay, and that I would continue to grow on the inside. And I really was grasping what my parents were talking about. But make no mistake, even to this day, I can walk in somewhere and not get waited on. But you can't let it rule your life every single time. Once in a blue moon, of course, it bothers you, just like all of us, right? But, you can't get mad or say something or lose your temper, because I think being polite, professional, and friendly is a better teaching tool. And it took me a while to learn that. And so that was my moment when that little boy said, "This is the girl that won." And I said, "Yes, it is."
You're no longer, it's funny because many of us become our diagnosis.
Yeah.
Many of us become what we think people see on the outside. and that shift that you went from, okay, I may grow to be 4 feet tall and be as big as a lighthouse. But that's where the height shifts, that's where it stops.
It does.
But you continue, and I love that when you said, I continued to grow on the inside. And so that growth on the inside has allowed you to see the vulnerabilities in others, because you see in others who you are.
Right.
So you probably have like this barometer or this antenna for these moments of discomfort, or these moments of where, like people wear their bulletproof vest, but you don't see where they've been hit. You don't know where they're suffering. So what are some of the things you do to bring that out in people, that you're able to say, I see you, I get you.
Right.
Don't feel like you have to be anything other than who you are.
Right. Because, I do think a large part of who I am and who I've developed was because of my situation. So I don't want to deny that. And so I do walk up to people. A chapter is called Make the First Move. And I do believe that a lot of the time you have to be the one that makes the first move. And there's several reasons for that. One, in this world of political correctness, which we have taken to an extreme, that we're either so offended by somebody who doesn't know or mean anything. I think we set people back when we get too sensitive. And then you have some people who on purpose do it, but not many. And so by making the first move and breaking the ice, you also take them off the hook, because they don't know what to say first. And you just start talking like they would, like you do to anyone else, and they do the same. So it takes them off the hook. It takes the pressure off everybody. And then if they do say something that maybe wasn't politically correct, if you want to address it, just make a slight comment. Otherwise, like I said, the best teaching moment is to be polite and educate at the time. The other thing is, I always use humor. We have to laugh about ourselves. If we don't laugh about ourselves, what's there to laugh at? And there's a big difference between teasing and laughing at yourself, because a lot of people laugh at themselves. And I think that's a great thing. And humor always, always helps. And then also offer up and let them off the hook if you feel they might need some help, or if they just want to talk to somebody. And we all need that, especially now. We're all struggling with this. We're not meant not to be around people. We're not meant not to hug each other. We're not meant, not to go out. We're all struggling with this. And so reaching out a hand, the greatest life we can live, in my opinion, is an interdependent life. And there's a lot of stress put on being independent, especially for kids. But I think that we as humans are meant to be interdependent. We depend on each other, and other people depend on us. And it's give and take. And so I definitely gravitate to people who have a passion to help others, as I do, and also those who are underserved. And I gravitate to that. So find what you gravitate to, what's your passion, and then start working in that area, whether it's people or a business or a not-for-profit, because, I can't necessarily go and help physically with my disability, a lot of the manual work, say a not-for-profit or something, but I can give my experience and my leadership skills. I can also give financially. We all have a role to play. And when everybody comes together, that's when you have success. But also the other person, has to be willing to accept what we're trying to do. And it takes courage to walk up to somebody, let me tell you. It takes a lot of courage. And sometimes you think, why did I do that? That didn't work out very well, right? That is not the person I probably should have started talking to.
Yeah.
But not often does that happen. And also, you know what? You can turn people around. You really can. And what I mean by that is turn them around so that they're open to people who are different by what you see. Because you don't know who's different by something that you can't see. And I don't know what all your challenges are, what your passions are yet, but I'd love to get to know. And we have to be willing to let our guard down. And it takes courage to be vulnerable. And some days you don't feel like it.
Yeah. Well, vulnerability, like, vulnerability is a beautiful, beautiful emotion. It's a beautiful state of mind.
Right.
When it's somebody else. When it's you, when it's me,
You don't
it's
like
embarrassing, uncomfortable, get me out of here.
Right.
But the reality is that is when you crack open.
Yep.
That is when the possibilities are really,
Exactly.
they are like shining through that crack until we reach that point. Now, some people find that feeling sorry for themselves or being the victim is where they want to be, but that is enslaving. When you've come out of that, it is just such a defining moment of who you are.
It's hard to move forward. It really is. And we all have pity parties, right? We all have our moments. And that's when you really have to say, okay, I had my pity party. Now let's get back to, where I want to be. And sometimes you need other people or a doctor or something like that to do that. And that, to me, is a great strength to have.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Recognizing that this is beyond. But I truly believe that we have all the answers within us.
But I think we have the ability, right?
Yeah, we must be open to explore and dig deeper.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what you've done. So let's talk about, even through all, your height. I'm sure that you've had many surgeries because many. You were born with a rare condition, right?
Right. Yep. I've had many over 40 years. Yep.
And so that could possibly, like I've spoken to so many people, they'll say, I have my diabetes or my heart disease or I can't do that because of myalgia or my whatever it is. But you're saying, bring it. You're saying, bring it. It doesn't matter that I have to go through this. This is temporary. I'm going to keep on with my perspective, my vision. So what are some of the things, some of the tips that you can share with loving people that are listening to you today or watching you today going, wow, I want to learn from her because you have to live this. I mean, like you said, some people have it on the inside. Like I could be at my lowest moment and nobody know about it unless somebody asks me or I feel comfortable enough to share. But people see what your struggles are physically.
Right.
So let's talk about some of the things that you've been able to do that can translate to somebody else who maybe just wants to get a new job.
Yeah, exactly. And that does happen. For me, I've always been a goal-oriented person from very young. And I always have goals and I always have a plan. Not that the plan always works, because it doesn't, but I have no problem deviating and I like change. And so for me, I have an interest in a lot of things and I'll go study it hard and, do that for a while and then something else will get my interest. And when you do that, you get to meet all kinds of people as well. And also you're growing on the inside at the same time. So when you think about how do you go get what you want with your challenges that you have, think about, you may have to do it a little bit differently as I do, because I don't walk very well. Obviously, I knew I wasn't going to have a manual job like a construction worker. That just wasn't going to happen for me. So I knew early on that I had to have an education. There was no other no other option for me. So you do have to realize what your limitations are and then figure out how to work around it. Because, I still have snorkeled at the Great Barrier Reef. I've been to the pyramids. I mean, I may not do it exactly like most people, but I did it in my way. And I love the song I Did It My Way. I play it often.
I can imagine.
Yeah. And so, and for those who have autism or, other types of challenges that we can't see, you have to figure out how to handle it with your limitations, but think of it more as an opportunity. People like Microsoft and other companies have really gravitated to folks who are on the autism spectrum because they have such strengths in areas that most people don't have.
Sure.
And there's a lot of that going on, and it also allows for inclusion. And it adds to all the other employees around them because you learn about it, which I think is a wonderful thing. Like, I was the smallest person at Caterpillar, and there were no other little people, at least in the Peoria area, that worked at Caterpillar. I think there was a few around the world. So, you can't just think of yourself as that. I thought of myself as a Caterpillar employee first. I'm Michelle first, and then you're a cat employee and all these other things. And being a little person is down the way until somebody reminds me of it. Yeah. But, the greatest compliment I got one day at work, we're working on this really tough project, and my friend goes, "You know what, Michelle?" I go, "What?" They go, "I forget that you're little." I go, "Oh, that's good. I do too till you bring it up." And she started laughing.
Yeah, now that you tell me about it, it reminded me once again.
Now that you brought it up, I hadn't really thought about it for the day, but that's okay. So, you really have to figure out what it is you want. And I've always done that my whole life. I always have goals. I still do today. And I go after them. And again, it may not work exactly like you want. And I do get frustrated. But a lot of times it works out. I just don't know why at the time. And it drives me crazy.
But then you dig a little deeper and you discover what it is. Yeah. Right. And so I want to take a little moment here to just remind you of the book. Hold it up, Vanna. My little Vanna White showing me the book. There we go. Are you going to? Oh, she just muted herself. Okay. So the book is called Looking Up. Why don't you show us the sample? There we go. There's my Vanna White there. There you go. The book is called Looking Up. It's how a different perspective turns obstacles into advantages. This is the most important mindset that we need to have. Well, it's one of many wonderful mindsets. So Michelle is giving away 5 books. And for that, you need to, and by the way, for those of you who are watching, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know that you're like us or do whatever it is. So that way we know that you're in the classroom. That's how you say, I'm here. I'm here. And if you want the book, a copy of the book, declare it. I want to declare. If you have an obstacle in your life and you want to get rid of it, release that obstacle, claim the book right now. And whoever also, once you declare it, either text me at 407-373-5959, or you can email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. But declare it. Make sure that you say, this is what I want to focus on, and get rid of these. Look at the blessings in these obstacles so that you can start working around them. So that's what you do. You declare it and text me or email me or IM me, whatever you want to do is the second part. And then we'll pick on a couple, and tomorrow I'll give people time to listen, but I'll pick 5 names and then we'll send them to Michelle to send you the book. But here's what I want you to know. If you are subscribed to whenyouneedafriend.com, that's my website, whenyouneedafriend.com, then you have all of Michelle's contact information, because you get a blog once a week. But here's where we meet, and this is where you get all the information of all the teachers in the classroom. But make sure when you go to whenyouneedafriend.com that you subscribe, because with all the censorship that's happening now, we never know if this classroom will be on Facebook or YouTube or where it's going to be. So make sure we have a gathering space, which is whenyouneedafriend.com. Subscribe. Also like and follow me on all my social media. Subscribe on YouTube, and also subscribe on BitChute, which doesn't censor us. So it's bitchute.com, and then actually just go to whenyouneedafriend.com and click on BitChute, and it'll take you right there. While you're in whenyouneedafriend.com, make sure you check out my sponsors, because my sponsors, without them, there would be no classroom. Look how big the classroom has gotten. It's worldwide. And it's because of the generosity generosity of our sponsors. So make sure that you click on the sponsors page, check out NORI, which stands for Nutritional Oncology Research Institute. And they also have NORI supplements and NORI CBD. And if you mention my name, we're going to get that button up there. Mention my name, you get 10% off your purchases. Keep Me Safe Organics as well. You get 10%. These are beauty products. And by the way, on Thursday, we have a makeover. So if you want to be a part of this private virtual makeover, you need to make sure you declare that too. Let me know that you want to be a part of it. First Alternative Care, the pharmacy in Merritt Island. We have Live Longer Medical, making you as beautiful on the inside as you are on the outside. And of course, my favorite affiliates, which are Ground Therapy and Brain Tap. We'll have Dr. Patrick Porter, in the classroom tomorrow. We're going to talk about how to retune our brain. And so these are our wonderful sponsors, and I want to make sure that you figure out ways to support my sponsors the way they're supporting the classroom. But that's not all. You can become an enrolled student in the classroom. You can donate from $1 or 50 cents all the way to whatever you can afford. Just go to the enrolled student and check out what you would like to donate. That way you will help us grow. So today we are talking about growth, not physical growth, but emotional growth with Michele L. Sullivan. I stumbled upon her. I was watching her TED Talk. If you want to go to her website, she has a couple of them. She has the website at Michele L. Sullivan. And Michele is spelled with one L, by the way, two L's for Sullivan. Yep. So MicheleLSullivan.com, or you can go to lookingup.com to purchase the book as well. You just released this book in February, and then all this pandemic stuff hits. This probably changed everything.
It did, but it's been beneficial with all the podcasts without traveling. And, lookingup.com talks about me. It also takes you to the other website automatically. And, one important piece that I wanted to talk about was, when I was a child back in the day, that was when we all sat down and had dinner every night with the family. And my parents would always ask what happened that day. And you really got a lot of guidance, and it really helped in your formative years. And when your parents said, what was so exciting today at school? And of course, when you're a young kid, Johnny puked, right? That was the biggest thing. And you gave all the details. But then you come around to, what other things happened during the day. And I carried that with me my whole life, because when something really good happens to you, or not so good, we all have a kitchen table. And what I mean by that, we have a few people that we tell first and talk it out, and we get our head around it before you go out and tell your village. And I have a big village to help me do what I do. Mm-hmm. But I also have my kitchen table, and your kitchen table changes throughout your life, and it also changes according to what happened. And I'll give you an example of a positive that I really need in my kitchen table. When the foundation job came open, I knew I can't travel by myself. So I knew I couldn't do that job alone. And I called my mom and sister together, and we talked through it. I called my kitchen table, and we decided I would go ahead and apply for the job with their blessing, knowing that I would need their help. And so I'm also part of other people's kitchen table. As I said, we always reciprocate. And so you all should have a kitchen table around you during the good and during the bad. And don't hesitate to call on that table, especially during these times. So remember your kitchen table.
I love that. I love that. And also comparison is not a good thing, because you've said several times, and I've picked up on this, what might be normal for me may not be normal for you. What normal for you may not be normal for me. Figure out a way that works best for you.
Exactly. I wear size 1 shoes. You can't walk in my shoes literally, but you know what? We can walk side by side and support each other. You don't have to walk in my shoes to walk alongside me, and vice versa. And remember that. Mm-hmm. We don't have to agree on everything. Actually, I like when I meet diverse people who have different views. I learn from that, and I gravitate to that, actually. I wish we had more of that in the political arena, actually.
I do too.
Really listened and heard the other side and came to a solution that we all give and take a little bit.
I would love that as well.
I would too.
As a
I would
matter of
too.
fact, I want to start a movement, Michelle. Maybe you can help me with my kitchen.
Mhm.
I want to start a movement called I am 99%. I am 99, because there seems to be this 1% that they keep talking about that's making all the decisions. And so I want people to know that we are part of the 99%,
Mhm.
and that if they divide the 99% and we have different groups
Right.
dividing and arguing with one another, which is a great tactic for division, to conquer, is
Right.
to have everybody distracted looking at mask, or whether this is or that, or whether you're Democrat, Republican. That's all distraction. We need to be aware of our rights, and we need to make a stand, take a stand. So I want to be a part of the hashtag I am 99. I'm going to create something, because
There you go.
I want us all to unite and see that we all want the same thing.
Right.
We want freedom. We want our rights. We want to feel like we are valued.
Right.
And so, and I see that you've done that not only with you, but with all the people that you've served.
Mhm.
That, because that's the heart of a servant is important. But another thing that I've picked up from you, which is something, remember I said we have a lot in common.
Mhm.
One of the things that we have in common, of many, is that gratitude.
Definitely.
Is gratitude for what you do have, because it could be worse. So share a little bit how you reach that moment of gratitude when
Right.
things aren't always what you think it should be.
Well, I learned it very young. At 13, I started going to Johns Hopkins for all my orthopedic surgeries. And people go to Johns Hopkins. It's one of the top research hospitals in the world. So people come from all over the world with problems that I never dreamed could happen to the human body. I can't even begin to explain it.
Mhm.
And I was there because I had a bad hip. I mean,
Amazing.
and these people, many of which, to be honest, were looking at the last straw, because it was the end of the road.
Mhm.
I've not had that in my life. I've had nuisances like orthopedic surgery, which is a nuisance to me.
Mhm.
But at 13, that was a profound impact on me. And so I know where I stand on many things in terms of gratitude and gratefulness, and, things that, like I said, being born in this country and so forth. And, we do have to be patient during this time, because wearing a mask may not be the best and most comfortable thing. But for the first time in my life, this pandemic has brought us together as one. This is not like 9/11, where that was against us. This is, we all are in this together. So if we don't be patient and work through it together, then we're never going to be able to do what we want to do, which is to go out and get our lives back again.
Mhm.
And, you can't walk in a store without a shirt or shoes either. People forget that.
Yeah.
So while we don't like it, and everybody has a choice, I do think that we need to be cognizant of, it's not just us. What we do impacts others, and what others are doing impacts me personally. And so I do see things starting to open up, and I do think we need to be patient and continue to follow the path, because what I don't want is to go backwards. I don't want to be able to get out and then get locked down again. And we're in Illinois. We were the second state to lock down.
Mhm.
So we have been
Well,
in
you
this a
guys have
long-
it. You guys have it pretty bad.
We do in
some-
Chicago. We're downstate, so we don't.
Mhm.
But the state, we're one. So
Well, but there's, like what I say, and I know that this is not, this is not about politics, and I
No.
hate
yeah,
the
I
fact
don't like politics.
that I hate the fact, because this is about no politics, no sports. I know that there's other people that do a much better job than I would be able to do.
Yeah.
But for the first time in my life, Michelle, I have, I as a healthy person, you as a healthy person, we've been locked down, and there's been
we have.
bacteria and viruses
Right.
all over.
I
So
know.
to me, there's a much larger agenda here. And because we need to be we're so distracted with the bickering. Should I wear a mask? Not a
Yeah,
mask?
I know.
You know, like we're so distracted with, ventilators and
Right.
doing testing
Right.
and all that, that, if, let me just put it this way. If the media reported on every person who died in a car accident,
Mhm.
we would be afraid to drive.
Right. It does play on your psyche.
It
And it's
does.
interesting. People say, Michelle, you work at Caterpillar, you're a Republican. And I went, oh, really? And then they say, oh, you're in the foundation. Oh, you're a Democrat. I said, oh, really? So it's funny how we do labels, just like me being a little person. But, I said, I'm a collaborator. I am
Right.
very big into bringing everybody together, everybody having a voice. And we come together with these decisions. And, we need to put I don't like the politics either. So I'm very big in collaborating with others.
I love it.
And we did that a lot, as we worked in poverty, because we brought together the public, private, and cost sector and got a lot of great things done to help a lot of people. And that's really what I try to focus on, at the end of the day. And it was C.S. Lewis that said, being humble is not thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking of yourself less, meaning don't always think about what's in it for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's about thinking about other people first.
Yes.
And that's very important, to me as well.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
it's a perspective, isn't it? A
I love it.
positivity. Yeah.
Well, you've done great things. You've done great
Thank
things.
you.
You've had every excuse in the book, but even with all the excuses that you could have had, you chose to look at life in a different perspective. And I want to remind all of you, show us your book. It's called Looking Up. It's how a different perspective turns obstacles into advantages. So claim the book. We're giving 5 away. Everybody who claims it will have an opportunity to win. 5 people will win. Make sure you also declare it on my text, 407-373-5959. Many of us have a lot of fear. It's about fear.
Yes.
It's about, it's that is the number one way to be controlled. If you are living in fear. So with that in mind, as a fearless woman, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment?
Oh, I think the impact that I've had on other people for sure. And that's really my passion. If I am so lucky in so many ways, I really want other people to be able to experience what I have. And we all have the same aspirations. Someone living in extreme poverty wants the best for their family, their children to go to school, etc. And we all have the same aspirations. And so I really work to allow other people to meet their aspirations as well. And I really want to lead by example in that space.
That's wonderful. And, I love the fact you say, I am a collaborator. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a little person. I'm not I am a collaborator.
That's right.
I love that. And so with that in mind, what's next for you? Because, even though you retired, I have a feeling that we never retire from service. What's next for you?
I am working on some resiliency, maybe a workshop, and I'm working with a professor on that who actually does research on it. And so I'm working on that. I'm also working with some folks on social impact, and then with some not-for-profits as well. And then, of course, my speaking, whether it's virtual or in person, as it starts to pick up again, is important to me, as I really want to, reach out and really try to have an impact on people and have them have an impact on me.
Well, I tell you what, I am so excited that we were able to have this conversation. I hope all of you realize that it doesn't matter how tall you are, we could look up to the people that are next to us. I love that perspective.
Thank you.
Life-changing. I'm glad that you took that step of courage. There's a movie called We Bought a Zoo, or I think it's called We Bought a Zoo. And the line, I don't remember anything about the movie except this line. It only takes 20 seconds of courage to take that first step. I got 20 seconds. So you've encouraged all of us to have courage as well. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. This has been great.
Yes, and I want to encourage all of you, especially if you're listening on podcast, to always join us, to see if you can join us live on Facebook or YouTube. You can find it through whenyouneedafriend.com. The book is called Looking Up: How a Different Perspective Turns Obstacles into Advantages by Michele L. Sullivan. Her website, you can go to lookingup.com if you want to buy your book, but just claim your book here so that you have an opportunity to win. Also, for those of you who are of faith, I want to encourage you to lift Michele up on your kitchen table on Friday. Did you say it was Friday that you were having surgery?
Mm-hmm.
This Friday.
Yep.
That would be the 30th. No, the 29th. 29th.
Thank you so much.
So we hold her up in prayer as she's holding all of us as well and giving us courage. Thank you so much, Michele, for everything that you're doing. And again, the book is called Looking Up. Make sure that you declare it in your comment section. So if you're watching, wherever you're watching, declare it. Then text me or send me an email at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. We are all in this together. Please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Michele L. Sullivan wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Good job. So hold on before we do the next part. Here we go.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
I am loving all the comments, and I just wanted to share what I've seen, because sometimes I don't see your comments. So if you have any questions, you can type in a Q, write your questions after that. We have a little bit of extra time after the podcast so that we can continue recording. For those of you who are sticking around after I call it a pod class. So you get to be the teacher's pets. For all of you teacher's pets, I am so excited. Thank you so much, Victoria and Josh, for Josh Helen French.
Oh,
Eggert, he obviously knows your work. He says loves Michele Sullivan. Looking Up is amazing read, must buy. And then Myrna, she's declaring it from Oregon. I'm excited about that for you. And let's see, Leah, you're sending a big heart. Fantastic message. It is a fantastic message. So when I was 10 years old, Michele, I was listening to our pastor preach, our priest. And I was 10 years old. I think it was during my first communion. And I don't remember anything other than I was the only one wearing a blue dress because the priest said, I don't want anybody in white. I want you to whatever. Because apparently some people couldn't do white. Well, I was the only one that wore blue. It was a little blue. It had a little bit of blue in it. And of course, I was just so focused on that because I was so shy. I didn't want to stand out. And I remember the priest saying, some of you are upset because you don't have a pair of shoes to match your purse, or maybe there's a hole in your shoe, or maybe you don't have, maybe the shoes are old. But if you look at your neighbor, they may not have any feet.
Right.
I was 10 years old, just like when you're very young, when you thought things could be worse.
Oh, and I
am so grateful for what's going on in my life. Now, that goes up to a certain point. Everybody has those down moments. For me, I allow it to flow through me, right? But I always go back to find the blessing, just like the tomb.
Yeah.
If Mary Magdalene wouldn't have gone to the tomb, they wouldn't have known the resurrection.
Right.
And so we go back just to find the beauty of it. So with you, when you are in those moments, like many of us are, especially in these times,
right?
When many of us, what do you do to go back to that tomb? What do you do to get you out of that funk of, man, I'm going to throw a pity party. and no one's going to come or bring
Yeah.
gifts.
It's a variety of things. I mentioned the kitchen table, depending on what it is, and then also you're going to laugh, but I do music a lot. I also do things that I really enjoy. I love perfumes, and I actually put perfume on every day. I could be in sweats and a torn t-shirt during the pandemic. And I put perfume on because I enjoy that. And also, I I do the soft things. I also meditate,
Mhm.
and I also lean on people. Depending on what it is, you have friends for everything. But you have to make the first move. And then sometimes you go to bed early and you wake up the next day. And I also lean on my faith. I am a person of faith. And there is a thread of faith in the book for those who also are people of faith. And I lean on that. But I still have my pity parties. And luckily, they don't last long. So there's a lot of things that I do.
Do you allow yourself to have the pity party? Because, many of us positive people are, as you say, people want to label you to put you on a little spot, and sometimes you just don't want to be labeled. You don't belong in a label, and they still try to put you in that label. So when you find yourself in that, where is it? How is it that you come out of it? You just say, things could be worse, or what is your process?
Yeah. Luckily for me, to be honest, I don't stay in it long. I don't know why. Just like, people who stay mad forever about something, I'm not one that stays mad either. I tend to let things flow. And I just do that. It usually doesn't last very long with me. And I think I'm very fortunate in that, because a lot of people can fall into depression or something else that isn't good, or lean on things that you shouldn't. And I've never really had that. And I have trouble relating to that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just like people have trouble relating to me on different things, So I've never had an issue with it lasting too long.
You give yourself a time. You give yourself a time out, time in.
I do. And then we got to move on. And I'm interested in so many things. I want to do something else. I do something I really like.
What is your first step towards healing?
Well, acceptance, which is tough sometimes. This week is tough. I'm going into surgery again, for a knee replacement. And I when I wake up, I always say, I'm glad it's over. Now I can start healing. And then I move on. It's done. Now it's in my hands. So let's go do the physical therapy and get back again, because I don't want to be down.
It is about perspective. It is about perspective.
Right. It's all in my hands, and acceptance. Exactly.
Yep. Very good. Very good. Well, you guys all know what you need to do. If you want a copy, show the book. It's called Looking Up: How a Different Perspective Turns Obstacles into Advantages. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful Michele L. Sullivan. She stands very tall like a lighthouse. And so she is sharing her light to you. And for those of you who would like a copy of the book, we're giving away 5. She's giving away 5 of the copies. So declare that you want a copy of the book. Text me at 407-373-5959. It's in the comment section on Facebook. I don't know if they wrote it on the, let me see. Oh, yep. It was written also on YouTube. And so that's the first step, is to say, I declare wanting to look at my obstacles as advantages, and then text me at 407-373-5959, or you can email me if you're out of the country. And you obviously have a Facebook account if you're watching me on Facebook, and you can IM me. So I'm giving you all sorts of opportunities to take advantage of whatever it is that you want. So many times, Michele, we focus on what we don't want.
Right.
People don't even know how to declare what they want.
Exactly. I agree.
Today, we need to declare what we want, which is to look beyond our obstacles and see them as blessings, as opposed to, the hand that was dealt, or the
Exactly.
the card that was dealt. This was for us to
Exactly.
grow. And I love your challenge,
Thank you.
to grow inside and into ourselves, and to always look up with that perspective of not feeling inferior, but to want to understand the other person and learn
Right.
from them.
Yeah, this has been great. I greatly appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you. So let's go ahead and say goodbye to all of you.
Bye,
Thank you so
everybody.
much for joining us. We
Thank
look
you.
forward to tomorrow. We'll have Patrick Porter in the classroom from Brain Tap. We'll see you guys. Bye. Let me see. There you go.
That was
Good
great.
job.
Thank
Good
you for
job.
that.
So you're going to have is it one knee or two
Yeah,
knees?
just one knee. The other one's been done already. So I'm just finishing up and getting stuff ready. And so I'm glad we had time to do this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. What kind of knee are you going to get?
A knee replacement. I drive up to Chicago. It's about 3 hours away.
No, I'm talking about, is it a titanium, plastic?
I
Cobalt?
don't know. They have to make it actually because they don't have my size. So
Well,
I
find
really don't-
out, because there's been a recall on the cobalt knee.
Yeah, it's not that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they quit doing that. It's some sort of. I wouldn't be surprised if it's titanium because they've been doing that a lot.
Oh, I might still